Welcome to Antique Coins Information. Today we're uncovering the top 5 most valuable and rare Lincoln Wheat pennies from the USA, coins so elusive that collectors have paid millions of dollars to own them. From legendary minting errors to historic rarities that defy the ordinary, stick around as we reveal the wheat pennies that every collector dreams about, and a few that will blow your mind in value. Moneybag, United States. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins ever struck by the United States of America, the 1956 Lincoln 1 cent wheat penny with no mint mark. At first glance, it may look like just another old penny resting in a jar, drawer, or inherited collection. But as you will soon discover, this humble coin tells a powerful story of craftsmanship, era, rarity, and hidden worth that many people overlook. The year 1956 sits at an interesting crossroads in American history. The nation was moving forward after World War II, industry was booming, families were growing, and everyday life was changing rapidly. During this time, the Lincoln Wheat penny was still a familiar part of daily transactions. People used these coins to buy newspapers, candy, bread, and coffee without ever imagining that decades later collectors around the world would study them closely, searching for subtle details that could dramatically change their value. The Lincoln 1 cent design itself is iconic. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it became the first regularly circulating U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. By 1956, the design had already been in use for nearly half a century, and it was deeply ingrained in American culture. On the front, Abraham Lincoln's dignified profile faces right, a symbol of unity, perseverance, and leadership. On the back, 2 simple wheat stalks curve along the edges, representing prosperity and the agricultural roots of the nation. What makes the 1956 no-mint mark wheat penny particularly interesting is where it was made. A coin without a mint mark during this period was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the original and oldest mint in the United States. The Philadelphia Mint produced massive quantities of coins, yet not all examples are created equal. While millions were minted, only a small number survived the decades in exceptional condition, untouched by heavy circulation, corrosion, or damage. It is these rare survivors that spark intense interest among collectors. Condition plays a crucial role in determining the worth of any coin, and this penny is no exception. Most 1956 wheat pennies spent years changing hands, rubbing against other coins, and enduring the wear of daily commerce. These common circulated examples are plentiful and usually worth only a modest amount. However, when a coin escapes circulation early or is carefully preserved, its surfaces remain sharp, its details crisp, and its original luster intact. Such high-grade examples are far more difficult to find than many people realize. Collectors examine every detail of the coin with precision. They study Lincoln's hair, cheek, and jawline, looking for sharp definition rather than smooth wear. They inspect the wheat stalks on the reverse, checking whether the lines remain bold and separated. Even the lettering and date are scrutinized, as weak strikes or wear can significantly lower a coin's appeal. A 1956 wheat penny that looks almost as fresh as the day it was minted can instantly stand apart from the rest. Beyond condition, there is the allure of subtle minting characteristics. During the mid-1950s, the minting process involved immense pressure, metal planchets, and high-speed production. Occasionally, small variations occurred, such as minor die imperfections, stronger strikes, or exceptional alignment. While major errors grab headlines, even slight differences can add character and desirability to a coin when paired with outstanding preservation. Another fascinating aspect of the 1956 no-mint mark wheat penny is its metal composition. Made primarily of copper, these coins were struck before the dramatic changes in cent composition that came later in the 20th century. The warm reddish-brown tone of copper gives the coin a timeless beauty that modern collectors appreciate deeply. Over time, copper naturally tones, developing shades that range from bright red to rich brown. Coins that retain a high percentage of their original red color are especially prized. For many collectors, part of the excitement lies in the possibility that a valuable coin could be hiding in plain sight. Old jars of pennies, inherited collections, or forgotten rolls tucked away in boxes may still contain overlooked treasures. The 1956 wheat penny is often underestimated because it does not immediately sound rare. Yet rarity in the coin world is not only about how many were made, but how many remain today in top condition. Professional grading has also played a significant role in shaping the modern market for this coin. When a penny is examined by a trusted grading service, it is evaluated, authenticated, and assigned a grade that reflects its condition. Coins that receive exceptionally high grades become standout examples, often commanding strong attention at auctions. These top-tier pieces are the ones that surprise people with their impressive values. The emotional connection to this coin cannot be ignored either. For some, it represents childhood memories of counting pennies or saving spare change. For others, it serves as a tangible link to parents or grandparents who lived during the 1950s. Collecting coins is not just about money, it is about preserving history, holding the past in your hand, and appreciating the artistry and effort that went into creating everyday objects. Over the years, demand for high-quality Lincoln wheat pennies has steadily grown. As more collectors enter the hobby, competition increases for the best examples. Meanwhile, time continues to reduce the number of pristine survivors. Coins are lost, damaged, or permanently altered, making untouched pieces even more desirable. This steady imbalance between supply and demand is one of the key reasons values can rise dramatically. It is also important to understand that the value of a coin is not fixed forever. Market trends, collector interest, and historical appreciation all influence prices. A 1956 no-mint mark wheat penny that once attracted little attention can suddenly become a star when the right buyer recognizes its quality. Auctions, private sales, and collector networks all contribute to shaping the coin's reputation and worth. For anyone new to coin collecting, this penny offers an excellent lesson. It shows that age alone does not determine value, and that careful observation is essential. Two coins from the same year can look similar at first glance, yet be worlds apart in desirability. Learning to spot the differences can transform the way you view every coin you encounter. As you hold or imagine this coin, think about the journey it has taken. From the presses of the Philadelphia Mint, into the pockets of Americans during a time of growth and optimism, and finally into the hands of modern collectors who recognize its significance. Each mark, each preserved detail, tells a story of survival through decades of change. The 1956 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny stands as a reminder that even the smallest denominations can carry remarkable stories and surprising worth. It teaches patience, attention to detail, and respect for history. Whether you are a seasoned collector or someone just beginning to explore the world of coins, this penny proves that hidden value often lies where we least expect it. And now, after understanding its history, craftsmanship, condition, and collector appeal, we arrive at the question everyone wants answered. In exceptional condition, this remarkable coin has been known to reach a value of $26,663. The story of the United States of America 1944 no-mint mark Lincoln 1 cent wheat penny is far more than the tale of a small copper coin. It is a journey back to one of the most intense and defining periods in American history, a time when the world was locked in global conflict and every object, no matter how small, carried meaning, sacrifice, and purpose. This humble penny was born during the final years of the Second World War, when factories roared day and night, families waited anxiously for letters from overseas, and the future of nations seemed uncertain. Holding this coin today is like holding a quiet witness to history itself. In 1944, the United States Mint was operating under extraordinary pressure. The country had already made significant changes to its coinage to support the war effort. Just a year earlier, pennies had been struck in steel to save copper for military use, creating one of the most famous wartime coins in American history. By 1944, copper returned to the penny, but not in the same way as before. The metal used was often reclaimed from spent ammunition shells, giving these coins a direct physical connection to the battlefields of the war. Every 1944 Lincoln wheat penny carries within it the silent echo of that era. The design of the coin remained familiar and reassuring to the American public. On the front, the dignified profile of President Abraham Lincoln faces right, a symbol of unity, strength, and perseverance. Lincoln had guided the nation through the Civil War, and his presence on the penny during World War II felt especially meaningful. His calm expression seemed to remind Americans that the country had faced darkness before and had emerged stronger. The words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" flanked the portrait, messages that resonated deeply during a time of global uncertainty. Turning the coin over reveals the iconic wheat ears framing the words "1 cent" and "United States of America," with "E pluribus unum" proudly displayed above. The wheat design, used from 1909 until 1958, symbolized prosperity, growth, and the agricultural backbone of the nation. In 1944, when rationing was common and resources were carefully managed, these symbols held powerful significance. The wheat penny was not just currency, it was a reminder of survival, resilience, and hope for abundance after hardship. What makes the 1944 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny particularly fascinating is its place of origin. Coins without a mint mark were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the oldest and most historic minting facility in the United States. Philadelphia pennies were produced in massive quantities to meet the demands of a growing wartime economy. Soldiers overseas, factory workers at home, and families across the nation all used these pennies in their daily lives. They passed through countless hands, purchased necessities, and quietly witnessed moments both ordinary and extraordinary. Despite the large number produced, not all 1944 pennies are the same. Over decades, collectors have discovered that condition plays a crucial role in determining a coin's desirability and value. Pennies that circulated heavily often show smooth surfaces, worn wheat stalks, and softened details on Lincoln's portrait. These are common reminders of how actively these coins were used. However, examples that somehow escaped heavy circulation tell a very different story. Coins with sharp details, strong luster, and minimal marks capture the attention of collectors instantly. Beyond condition, striking quality also matters. During wartime production, speed often took priority over perfection. Dies wore out quickly, and quality control could vary. As a result, some 1944 pennies exhibit weak strikes, while others display crisp lettering and well-defined design elements. Collectors study these details closely, searching for coins that stand out from the rest. A well-struck example can feel almost alive, as if it was set aside carefully while others rushed into circulation. Another layer of intrigue comes from subtle variations and errors that occurred during production. Although not all errors dramatically increase value, they add character and uniqueness to individual coins. Slight misalignments, minor die cracks, or unusual toning patterns can make a particular penny more interesting to collectors. Each imperfection tells a story of hurried wartime minting and human involvement in a massive industrial process. The historical context of 1944 adds emotional weight that cannot be replicated by modern coinage. This was the year of the D-Day invasion, when Allied forces stormed the beaches of Normandy. It was a year of turning points, sacrifice, and cautious optimism. At home, Americans collected scrap metal, bought war bonds, and lived with ration books in their pockets. The penny jingling in someone's change might have been used to buy a newspaper reporting on the progress of the war, or candy shared with a child during uncertain times. That emotional connection is part of what fuels collector interest today. Over the decades, as coin collecting grew from a casual hobby into a serious field, the 1944 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny earned a steady place in collections. Beginners appreciate it for its affordability in lower grades and its historical significance. Advanced collectors seek out exceptional examples that showcase the coin at its absolute best. Auction houses and grading services carefully evaluate these pennies, assigning grades that reflect preservation, eye appeal, and overall quality. The concept of worth, when it comes to coins like this, goes beyond simple face value. It involves rarity within condition categories, demand among collectors, and the story the coin represents. A pristine 1944 Philadelphia wheat penny can command attention precisely because it survived so many decades in remarkable shape. It becomes a time capsule, preserving the look and feel of a coin as it existed during one of the most critical years of the 20th century. Collectors often speak about the thrill of discovery, and this penny offers plenty of opportunity for that excitement. It might sit unnoticed in an old jar, a family collection, or a forgotten drawer, waiting for someone to recognize its significance. When examined closely under proper lighting, details come alive. The lines in Lincoln's coat, the grains of wheat, the texture of the fields and letters all reveal themselves, inviting admiration and curiosity. The appeal of the 1944 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat Penny also lies in its balance between accessibility and prestige. It is not an unreachable museum piece, yet in top condition it represents a level of quality that serious collectors respect. It bridges generations, connecting those who lived through the war with modern enthusiasts who seek tangible links to the past. As interest in historical coins continues to grow, pieces like this penny gain renewed attention. They serve as educational tools, conversation starters, and investments in history. Holding one encourages reflection on how something so small could travel through such a vast and dramatic period, surviving economic changes, cultural shifts, and the passage of time itself. In the end, the true magic of the 1944 no-mint mark Lincoln 1 cent wheat penny lies in its ability to tell a story. It speaks of resilience during war, craftsmanship under pressure, and the enduring symbols that define a nation. For collectors and history lovers alike, it is a reminder that even the smallest objects can carry immense meaning, and when preserved in exceptional condition and recognized for its historical and collectible importance, this remarkable penny has been known to reach a value of $24,867. The story of the United States of America 1950 mint mark Lincoln 1 cent wheat penny is not just about a small copper coin, but about a powerful moment in American history, a time of rebuilding, hope, and quiet determination after the shadows of war. This humble penny carries far more than its face value. It carries the fingerprints of an entire generation and the echoes of a nation stepping confidently into a new era. In 1950, America was changing rapidly. World War II had ended only a few years earlier, and families across the country were returning to normal life. Factories that once produced weapons were now turning their attention back to consumer goods. Homes were being built at a rapid pace, and the American dream felt closer than ever for millions of people. It was in this atmosphere that the Lincoln Wheat Penny of 1950 was struck, specifically at the Denver Mint, identified by the small but important D mint mark beneath the date. The Lincoln 1 cent design itself was already iconic by this time. Introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, it was the first regularly circulating United States coin to feature a real historical figure. By 1950, Americans were deeply familiar with Lincoln's calm profile on the front of the coin. His image symbolized unity, honesty, and resilience, values that felt especially meaningful during the post-war years. On the reverse side, the two wheat ears framing the words 1 cent and United States of America represented prosperity and abundance. Wheat was a symbol of growth, nourishment, and stability, something every family could understand and appreciate. Even though newer designs would eventually replace the wheat reverse, during 1950 it still stood proudly as a reminder of America's agricultural roots and hardworking spirit. The Denver Mint played a crucial role in producing coins for a rapidly expanding economy. As people spent more money, traveled more, and built new lives, the demand for circulating coinage was immense. The 1950 D wheat penny was struck in large numbers, yet not all of them survived the decades in good condition. Many were heavily used, scratched, darkened, or damaged through years of circulation. Others were lost, spent, or melted down, quietly disappearing from history. What makes the 1950 D Lincoln Wheat Penny fascinating to collectors today is not just its age, but its condition and story. While millions were minted, only a small percentage remain in high-grade condition. Coins that escaped heavy circulation, perhaps stored away in jars, drawers, or forgotten collections, are the ones that draw the most attention today. These well-preserved examples offer a glimpse into what everyday money looked like more than 70 years ago. Collectors carefully examine details when evaluating this penny. The sharpness of Lincoln's profile, the clarity of the date and mint mark, and the definition of the wheat stalks on the reverse all play a role. Original luster, that subtle shine that appears when a coin has not been overly handled or cleaned, is especially important. Even small differences in wear can dramatically change how a coin is viewed in the numismatic world. Another factor that adds intrigue to the 1950 wheat penny is the era in which it was made. This was a time before modern minting technology reached its peak. Variations in striking pressure, die condition, and metal flow could result in slight differences from coin to coin. Some collectors search for interesting characteristics, such as stronger strikes, unusual toning, or minor die variations that make one coin stand out from another. For many people, wheat pennies are the gateway into coin collecting. They are familiar, affordable in lower grades, and rich in history. Someone might discover a 1950 penny in an old family collection and feel an immediate connection to the past. That sense of discovery is what keeps collectors searching through rolls, jars, and inherited boxes year after year. The emotional value of this coin should not be underestimated. Imagine the hands it passed through over the decades. A child buying candy at a corner store, a worker receiving change after a long day, a parent saving pennies in a jar for something special. Each coin lived a quiet life, participating in countless everyday moments. Today, holding a 1950 wheat penny is like holding a small time capsule. As interest in classic American coins continues to grow, more people are beginning to appreciate the significance of mid-20th century coinage. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series, in particular, has gained renewed attention because it represents a completed chapter in United States minting history. Once the wheat reverse was replaced, an era ended, making these coins even more meaningful to collectors and history enthusiasts alike. It is also important to note that many collectors value originality. Coins that have not been cleaned or altered tend to be far more desirable. Natural aging, even toning, and honest wear tell a story that artificial cleaning can erase. The 1950 penny, when preserved naturally, carries an authenticity that cannot be recreated. Over time, market demand has shifted. Coins that were once overlooked are now being carefully studied and graded. As fewer high-quality examples remain available, competition among collectors increases. This is why certain examples of the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny have drawn serious attention in the numismatic market, especially those that meet strict grading standards and display exceptional eye appeal. Beyond collecting, this penny also serves as an educational piece. It teaches new collectors about mint marks, historical context, coin preservation, and grading. It encourages patience, attention to detail, and respect for history. Many seasoned collectors can trace their passion back to a simple wheat penny that sparked their curiosity. The story of the 1950 Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny is, in many ways, the story of America itself during that time. It reflects recovery, growth, and optimism. It reminds us that even the smallest objects can carry immense historical and cultural value. What was once ordinary pocket change has now become a treasured link to the past. As you hold or observe this coin, take a moment to appreciate its journey. From the presses of the Denver Mint to the hands of countless Americans, and finally into the spotlight of collectors and enthusiasts, this penny has traveled far beyond its original purpose. It stands as proof that history is not only found in grand monuments or famous documents, but also in the quiet, everyday items we often overlook. And when all the details are considered, when condition, rarity and top grades, historical importance, and collector demand come together, the 1950 mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny has reached an impressive value that surprises many people today, with top examples commanding as much as $19,000. The moment you hold a classic Lincoln Wheat Penny in your hand, you are not just holding a coin, you are holding a quiet witness to American history. Today's story centers on a humble yet fascinating piece of copper from the early Cold War era, a coin that many people once carried in their pockets without a second thought. The United States of America 1951 mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny may look ordinary at first glance, but behind its simple design lies a story of industry, transition, and hidden value that continues to excite collectors across the world. In 1951, the United States was a nation in motion. The Second World War was over, but its effects were still deeply felt. Factories that once produced weapons had shifted back to consumer goods, soldiers had returned home, and the American economy was growing rapidly. Denver, Colorado, where the D mint mark was placed on coins, was one of the most important minting facilities in the country. Coins struck there were needed to fuel everyday commerce, from small-town shops to booming cities. The Lincoln Wheat Penny struck at the Denver Mint in that year was part of this massive economic heartbeat. The obverse of the coin features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a design created by Victor David Brenner and first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. By 1951, this portrait had already been in use for more than 4 decades, making it one of the most recognizable images in American numismatics. Lincoln's calm expression, strong jawline, and dignified posture reflect stability, something Americans deeply valued during the uncertain early years of the Cold War. The word liberty appears to the left of Lincoln's portrait, while the date 1951 is displayed on the right, just beneath the small but crucial D mint mark. That single letter, the D, is what tells us this coin was produced at the Denver Mint. For collectors, mint marks matter greatly. Coins from different mints can vary in rarity, strike quality, and long-term desirability. The Denver Mint was known for producing large quantities of coins, but quantity alone does not guarantee that surviving examples will be common in high-grade condition. Most 1951 D wheat pennies entered circulation immediately and were heavily used. Over time, many became worn, scratched, or damaged, making pristine examples far more elusive today. Turning the coin over reveals the classic wheat ears reverse design, which gave the wheat penny its popular name. 2 stylized wheat stalks curve inward along the edges, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. Above them sits the motto E pluribus unum. This design symbolized America's agricultural strength and unity, themes that resonated strongly in the early 20th century. By the early 1950s, however, the wheat penny was nearing the end of its run. Just a few years later, in 1959, the reverse would be replaced with the Lincoln Memorial design, making the 1951 D issue part of the final chapter of the wheat era. What makes this coin especially interesting is not just its age, but the subtle factors that determine its value. Condition plays the most important role. A heavily circulated 1951 D wheat penny may only be worth a small premium over face value, but coins that survived with sharp details, strong luster, and minimal marks are a completely different story. Collectors look closely at Lincoln's hair, cheek, and coat for signs of wear. On the reverse, the wheat lines and lettering must be crisp and well-defined to qualify for higher grades. Strike quality is another key element. Even within the same year and mint, coins can vary significantly. Some 1951 D pennies were struck with exceptional clarity, showing full details in Lincoln's portrait and strong definition in the wheat stalks. Others may appear weakly struck, with softer details due to worn dies or lower striking pressure. High-quality strikes are far more desirable and command much stronger interest in the collector market. Color also matters. Because these pennies were made primarily of copper, they can appear in different color categories today. Original red examples, which retain much of their mint luster, are extremely rare for this issue. Red-brown coins show a mix of original copper color and natural toning, while brown examples have fully toned over time. The closer a 1951 D wheat penny is to its original red color, the more valuable and sought after it becomes. Then there are errors and varieties. While the 1951 D wheat penny is not famous for major varieties like some earlier dates, collectors are always on the lookout for off-center strikes, die cracks, repunched mint marks, or other unusual minting anomalies. Even small errors can dramatically increase interest, especially when paired with high overall condition. The story of this coin does not end in 1951. For decades, wheat pennies were commonly saved by families, tucked away in jars, drawers, and old boxes. Many people believed copper coins might someday be worth more, while others simply enjoyed keeping older designs. As a result, discoveries still happen today. Someone cleaning out an old home or inherited collection may suddenly come across a 1951 D wheat penny in exceptional condition, unaware of its potential significance. Collectors value this coin not just for money, but for what it represents. It is a tangible link to post-war America, a time when optimism mixed with uncertainty, and everyday objects like coins carried quiet symbolism. Holding a 1951 wheat penny connects you to countless hands that once used it to buy bread, newspapers, or a cup of coffee. Each scratch and mark tells a small, human story. In the modern coin market, demand for high-grade Lincoln wheat pennies remains strong. As more collectors enter the hobby, competition for top-quality examples increases. Graded coins, certified by professional grading services, often achieve the highest prices because their condition and authenticity are officially recognized. A 1951 wheat penny graded at the top of the scale becomes not just a collectible, but a serious investment piece. What truly captures attention is the idea that such a modest coin, once worth only a single cent, can transform into something extraordinary. The journey from everyday change to prized collectible is what makes numismatics so fascinating. It reminds us that value is not always obvious at first glance. Sometimes, history, rarity, and condition quietly work together over decades to create something remarkable. So the next time you see an old wheat penny, take a closer look. Notice the date, the mint mark, the color, and the details. That small copper coin may be holding a story far greater than its size suggests. And when it comes to the United States of America 1951 mint mark Lincoln 1 cent wheat penny in exceptional condition, collectors have seen it reach an astonishing value of $20,000.